Sometimes Pokemon get new abilities long after they're introduced. Torkoal and Pelipper were added in Gen 3, but they didn't get their weather setting abilities till Sun and Moon, for example. In most cases, you can still use the older abilities. But what's up, fellas? I'm Matt, and today Elias and I are gonna look at Pokemon that lost their old abilities entirely and got them replaced with something else. Alright, let's get started.
Good morning, fellas. I'm Elias, and Venipede, Whirlipede, and Scolipede had Quick Feet as their hidden ability in Gen 5. That boosts their speed by 50% if they have a non-volatile status. If they're paralyzed, Quick Feet will also cancel out the speed reduction. That's, fine, I guess, but they lost Quick Feet in favor of Speed Boost in Gen 6. This ability raises your speed by one stage every single turn. So the general idea is similar to Quick Feet, but Speed Boost can make you way faster, and it does so in a much safer way.
Scolipede has two main roles in competitive singles, and Speed Boost makes it more effective at both of them. If you're using Scolipede as a setup sweeper with Swords Dance, then Speed Boost helps you get the upper hand against your opponent's team, allowing you to knock them out before they can fight back. It's got some strong attacks to choose from, like Mega Horn, Earthquake, and the more unconventional Aqua Tail. In Gen 7, you can also upgrade Aqua Tail into the Z move Hydro Vortex.
You can also use Scolipede as a lead and have it set up entry hazards like Spikes and Toxic Spikes. Speed Boost helps here too, because if you outspeed your opponent, you can set up more layers of spikes before you get knocked out. So I think it's safe to say Scolipede doesn't miss Quick Feet too much. Speed Boost is a better alternative in nearly every way. It makes you 50% faster on turn 1 for free, whereas Quick Feet might make you 50% faster sometime this fiscal year.
Prior to Gen 9, Shiftry's second ability was Early Bird, which makes it wake up faster if it falls asleep. That's not the worst ability in the universe, but Chlorophyll is usually going to be a better choice. But in Scarlet and Violet, Shiftry's Early Bird was replaced with Wind Rider, previously the signature ability of Bramblegast. If Shiftry gets hit by a wind move, it won't take any damage, and its attack will be boosted by one stage instead.
That's a solid upgrade over Early Bird, because there are quite a few strong wind moves. Without Wind Rider, Shiftry would have been weak to quite a few of them, like Heat Wave, Icy Wind, Heat Wave is a wind move?
Yeah, Heat Wave is like breathing fire.
Okay, so it's not like the production of an incredible amount of heat?
Yeah, in Japanese, the move is literally called Hot Wind.
Blizzard, and quite a few flying type moves. If your teammate uses Tailwind and doubles, Shiftry will get doubled speed, and the attack boost from Wind Rider.
This next former ability was most likely a mistake. When Pokemon Black and White came out, Basculin had two forms. The Red Stripe form was primarily found in Black, and the Blue Stripe form was more common in White. They both share adaptability, but their first ability slots were meant to be different. Red Stripe Basculin got Reckless, and Blue Stripe Basculin was supposed to get Rockhead.
But both forms were given Reckless in Black and White by accident. We figure it was probably a mistake for two reasons. First off, there's an in-game trade in Driftvale City where Kyle will trade you a Basculin in exchange for a Minccino. In Pokemon White, he gives you a Rockhead Blue Stripe Basculin, despite that form having Reckless otherwise. The other reason is that in Black and White 2, Blue Stripe Basculin lost Reckless and its ability was changed to Rockhead across the board. Driftvale City has the hardest music, by the way. The transition from the bridge into Driftvale City.
Should we be using that music in our videos?
I love that song, dude. The Driftvale City.
Both of these abilities are pretty similar vibes-wise. Reckless boosts the damage of recoil moves by 20%, and Rockhead eliminates the recoil damage entirely instead. But in Gen 5, the only recoil moves they could learn were Double Edge and Takedown. I hate the word recoil. Over time, they got access to a few more, namely Wave Crash, Head Smash, and whoops, that's it.
You hate the word recoil?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, it's just not fun to pronounce.
Recoil. I think it's really fun to pronounce. Recoil.
But in any case, adaptability is their ability of choice in most cases, because it boosts their stat bonus from 1.5 times to 2 times.
One of the most famous examples of former abilities belongs to Gengar. From Gens 3 through 6, it had Levitate, the same way its pre-evolutions Ghastly and Haunter do. That makes it immune to ground type moves, on top of all the other immunities it has. It's a ghost type, so normal and fighting moves can't hit it. It's a poison type, so it can't be poisoned, and starting in Gen 6, it's also immune to being trapped.
But in Gen 7, Levitate was replaced with Curse Body. And I mean, I guess that's fair. Most of the time when you see Gengar in-game, it's standing on the ground. Visually, it looks like Earthquake should hit Gengar, so fine. I don't love it though, because Gengar has been shown to be able to float too. Curse Body isn't exactly an ideal replacement either. Anytime Gengar gets hit, it has a 30% chance of disabling the opponent's move. It's fine, I guess, but it's pretty luck-based. Levitate would have been preferable.
This next ability change is really solid. Empoleon's hidden ability was Defiant prior to Scarlet and Violet. It's not a bad ability by any means, but it's not great on Empoleon specifically. If a Defiant Pokemon's stats get lowered by their opponent, their attack stat will go up by 2 stages. The problem is that Empoleon is a special attacker. Its special attack stat is a full 25 points higher than its physical attack. That means Defiant is boosting the wrong stat, so Torrent is usually its ability of choice.
Empoleon supports piracy.
So does every other water starter in the game.
True. But in Gen 9, Empoleon was given competitive, which acts just like Defiant, but it raises special attack instead. That was a really nice change, because now it can use its ability to boost moves like Surf, Ice Beam, and Grass Knot. So that's Empoleon's ability of choice in Gen 9 RU and UU. Competitive is also usually its ability in doubles, because stat debuffs are all over the place. You've got Intimidate, Snarl, Icy Wind, and so on forever and ever and ever.
Some Pokemon had abilities programmed into the game, but never actually got access to them.
That's a capital E, Elias. You know, like the one in your name.
I don't have an E in my name.
Oh, what's up, Elias?
Even though hidden abilities were added in Pokemon Black and White, it took a while for them to be released. Some Pokemon didn't get their hidden ability at all in Gen 5, and Game Freak changed the abilities to something else later on. The most notable example has got to be Chandelure, one of my favorite Ghost-type Pokemon, by the way.
I love Chandelure.
Starting in X and Y, its hidden ability is Infiltrator, which allows you to ignore your opponent's Substitute, Screens, Safeguard, and Mist. Not a terrible ability, but its use cases are fairly limited. Chandelure's hidden ability in Gen 5 would have been way more impactful.
Shadow Tag Chandelure was never released, and thank God for that. Trapping abilities are some of the most powerful in the game because of how prevalent switching is. If your current Pokemon is in danger, you can switch to something else that's better suited for the matchup. But if you can't switch and your opponent is about to knock you out, you're toast. You can effectively delete Pokemon for free by using Shadow Tag.
Trapping can single-handedly turn a pushover into a menace. If Wobbuffet is allowed to use Shadow Tag, it's a solid choice, even though it can't attack without being hit first. If Shadow Tag is banned, Wobbuffet is literally unusable because your opponent can switch out Ad Foreverum and avoid attacking it entirely. Mega Gengar has incredible stats, including a base special attack stat of 170, but Shadow Tag makes it even more of a menace.
I just want you all to know that, Elias was about to spontaneously combust because I didn't spell single-handedly with a hyphen in the script.
Okay.
Mega Gengar is one of the strongest Pokemon of all time. In fact, it was so overpowered that it nearly got banned from the ban list in singles. A suspect test was held in Gen 6 to determine whether Mega Gengar would be banned from Ubers, the format you get banished to if you're too strong for OU. That didn't come to pass, but Mega Gengar is still one of the absolute strongest Pokemon around, even running circles around most of the legendaries. It's one of the hardest hitting Pokemon in the game, it's got a ton of other dangerous options like Hex and Perish Song, and you can't switch out to try and beat it. Get this heinous motherfather off my screen.
If Chandelure had gotten Shadow Tag, it wouldn't have been nearly as game-breaking as Mega Gengar. It would be incredibly strong, don't get us wrong, but Mega Gengar was on a whole nother level. Never getting Shadow Tag was a pretty big blow for Chandelure because Infiltrator is nowhere near as useful. As far as Chandelure's other abilities go, you can choose between Flame Body and Flash Fire, dealer's choice. Both of them are pretty good, but not game-warpingly so.
Google Docs is telling me that warpingly isn't a word, and I do not care. The Collins Scrabble dictionary just got an update. Some pretty normal stuff like laggy, janky. Ooh woo is also in there now, which
Oh no, what about Owo?
Yup. Next up, the legendary beast from Johto. Raikou, Entei, and Suicune also got hidden abilities in Gen 5, namely Volt Absorb, Flash Fire, and Water Absorb respectively. These would have been pretty nice abilities because having immunity is a nice defensive advantage. Not only can you block your opponent's attempt to deal damage, but you also get some additional benefit. Water Absorb and Volt Absorb would have healed Suicune and Raikou, and Flash Fire would have powered up Entei's fire moves. Immunities would make it slightly easier to switch into battle safely as well. But the beast never got these abilities. They weren't released in Gen 5 or 6, and their hidden abilities were all changed to Inner Focus in Gen 7. Great. Now they have a better matchup against Serene Grace Jirachi. Whoop-de-flip-and-do. Your turn, nerd.
Wait, I'm learning about Eevee.
Read your lines, nerd.
Okay, but in all seriousness, that effect is pretty nice, especially in doubles. Inner Focus prevents you from being disrupted by moves like Fake Out, but in singles, they still usually opt for their standard ability, Pressure. That makes your opponent use more power points against you, which is, like, fine. A lot of strong moves have very limited power points, so Pressure can make your opponents run out of close combats even faster. But the immunity abilities would have been preferable if they were available.
Speaking of legendaries, Zapdos' original hidden ability was Lightning Rod. It's similar to Volt Absorb in the sense that it grants an electric immunity, but instead of healing, Lightning Rod raises your special attack if you're hit by an electric move. Pretty nice. But like the legendary beast, Zapdos' hidden ability was changed before it was released.
Thanks to an event in Gen 6, Zapdos got Static instead of Lightning Rod as its hidden ability. If a Pokemon makes contact with Zapdos, there's a 30% chance Static will paralyze them. Both abilities are pretty solid, but which one is better would depend on what format you're playing and what role Zapdos is playing on your team. But Lightning Rod Zapdos was never released, so that's all just theory crafting. Articuno and Moltres also got their hidden abilities released in Gen 6, but they didn't get changed like Zapdos's did. For more videos like this, subscribe to MEPlaysGames and consider becoming a channel member for as little as 99 cents a month. You'll get to watch these videos early, and you can watch exclusive Let's Plays, including our current project, Pokemon X.
I'm not even sure if this next forbidden ability was intentional or not, but we'll include it today for completion's sake. When Kubfu was introduced in Sword and Shield's DLC, its ability was Inner Focus, but it originally got a hidden ability for Scarlet and Violet, namely No Guard. Well, sort of. That was its hidden ability in versions 1.0 and 1.1, but Kubfu wasn't available in the game at that point, because Pokemon Home support hadn't been added yet. By the time Kubfu was made transferable in version 1.2, No Guard was removed from its code, so Inner Focus is still your only choice.
Here's the thing though, who cares? Kubfu evolves into Urshifu, which is one of the strongest Pokemon in the game. Urshifu has a cheat code. Urshifu has an ability of its own, Unseen Fist. That's an incredible tool because you can use it to bypass Protect, one of the absolute best moves in doubles. There's almost no reason to ever use Kubfu in any serious battle. Its base stat total is lower than Butterfree, so it can't really make any noise in singles. It also doesn't have any use in doubles because whenever Urshifu is banned in VGC, so is Kubfu. You can't even use this guy in Little Cup, despite it being unevolved. Kubfu can't be bred, meaning it's impossible to get one at the required level of 5. The lowest level Kubfu you can obtain is in the Eye of Armor, where it starts at level 10. So whether it has Inner Focus or No Guard doesn't make a difference. It doesn't have anything to do either way. Man, why did they start adding quote unquote legendary Pokemons that evolve?
They've been doing that since Gen 7, Cosmog?
Yeah, I thought that was dumb.
The only reason you think that's dumb is because that's a rule that's just a pattern that had been established before.
Exactly. So I'm right.
Next up, many Pokemon that debuted in Legends Arceus fall into this category too. Pokemon didn't have abilities in that game, with the exceptions of Cherim and Regigigas. Dude can't catch a break, but I digress. Despite abilities not existing for the most part, each Pokemon still had them listed in the game's code, and many of them didn't carry over into Scarlet and Violet. Any abilities that are exclusive to Legends Arceus are unobtainable. Let's go over a few of the highlights.
Oh, sorry, it's my turn?
Yeah. I mean, it could not be. I could fire you on the spot.
I dare you, go ahead.
Alright, you're fine! Alright, let's do the thing.
Cantonian Arcanine's hidden ability is Justified, which initially carried over to its Hisuian form too. But in Gen 9, Hisuian Arcanine's ability was replaced with Rockhead, which is awesome. That means it can spam recoil moves like Head Smash and Flare Blitz risk-free. Kleavor and Hisuian Samurott both got Sharpness in Gen 9, replacing Steadfast and Shell Armor respectively. That powers up their slicing moves by 50%, and both Pokemon can learn a bunch of those. That includes their signature moves, Stone Axe and Ceaseless Edge.
Hisuian Decidueye originally had Long Reach in the game's code, the same as its Alolan cousin. If it has that ability, its moves don't make contact, which is a pretty nice tool. That prevents damage from stuff like Rough Skin and Rocky Helmet, as well as status conditions from abilities like Flame Body and Poison Point. Meanwhile, Hisuian Decidueye's Long Reach was replaced by Scrappy in Gen 9, which allows you to hit ghosts with its fighting stabs. Not bad. It also lets you hit ghost types with normal moves, but whatever.
Basculin got a third form in Gen 8 as well. The white striped form has Rattled instead of Reckless or Rockhead. In Legends Arceus' code, its evolution Basculegion has Rattled listed as well, but in Gen 9 it was replaced with Swift Swim. Basculegion isn't that common in doubles, but Swift Swim is usually its ability of choice in that context. You can pair it with Pelipper to set up the rain, and go to town with supercharged wave crashes. In singles though, adaptability is still the preferred choice.
Actually, you know what? Let's do one lowlight. Jotonian Typhlosion's hidden ability is Flash Fire, which is nice. You can't really go wrong with an immunity ability. Hisuian Typhlosion also originally had Flash Fire, but never got access to it. By the time Gen 9 came out, it was replaced with Frisk. This ability tells you what health item your opponent has, which just isn't that useful.
In modern doubles tournaments, Frisk is completely useless. In Scarlet and Violet, VGC has an open team sheet rule, where each player has to share the details of their Pokemon with their opponent. That includes their species, moves, Terra type, ability, and held item. You and your opponent have to share nearly everything except your Pokemon's stat spreads. So Frisk is giving you information that you already know. The other Pokemon who got abilities changed in Gen 9 are Hisuian Sneasel, Hisuian Gudra, Hisuian Braviary, and Enamorus.
Enamorus is Elias' favorite Pokemon.
No, it's not. Good morning, fellas. I'm Elias, and Venipede, Whirlipede, and Scolipede. Those are all my names.
Elias Scolipede.
No. Elias, Venipede, Whirlipede, Scolipede.
Oh dang, your actual middle name just got booted to the Shadow Realm, huh?
Oh, I forgot I had a middle name for a second. Anyways, bleep out my last name. I don't know if you know it. Iwi?
I don't think so.
Awa?
Do they use all of those?
No. Just Just making stuff up.
Should we just come up with a stupid pronunciation for Arceus?
Arceus.
Yeah, then we get cease and desist by M&J.TV. No thanks.
Okay, I've been calling him Arceus far before M&J.TV.
Arceus.
RKO.
Welp, that's all we got for today. Leave a comment about Vespiquen. Shout out to all our channel members: Gavin Eric, Akruda, Starkid Phil, 2D Sonic, Lord Matthew, Summon Sloth, Skintis, Catalia, Sam the Yeen, Measles, JVGL, Victor Manzo, Saphira, Shard the Duraludon, Kai the Memer, and Elias himself. Consider adding your own support as well to help us keep the show going. We'll see you all next time. Good night, fellas. Sleep well.